There is a very interesting character in Apple TV+'s live-action adaptation of Isaac Asimov's Foundation book series whose very presence in the show pretty much confirms that more of the sci-fi author's literary works are part of the same canon. The figure in question has been part of the story since the show began in 2021, and is confirmed to be returning as part of the Foundation Season 3 cast. Not only have they been at the heart of some of Foundation's best scenes so far, but they are also one of the most pivotal characters in the entire saga. Foundation's ambitious attempt to bring Asimov's legendary space opera to the small screen has gone well so far, and I would place it in the list of the best shows on Apple TV+, regardless of genre. The show isn't quite a faithful adaptation of the source material, as it would have been incredibly tricky to directly translate Asimov's work into a TV show that tells a cohesive story in the saga's new medium. That said, huge amounts of the lore have remained intact, including a character who connects Foundation to more sci-fi tales from Asimov. How Laura Byrne's Lady Demerzel connects Foundation to Asimov's robot series. Demerzel's origins date all the way back to a classic Asimov war. Foundation's Lady Demerzel is the last surviving member of the Robot Wars. Although her robotic nature only ever occasionally influences Foundation's story, it's something that absolutely cannot be ignored. As is the case with other Isaac Asimov robots, Laura Byrne's Foundation character is beholden to the author's 3 laws of robotics. These same laws can be found in other areas of Asimov's work, such as in the 1999 adaptation of Bicentennial Man and 2004's I, Robot. The author's Foundation books are set centuries after Asimov's Robot series, but they are still part of the same canon. The Robot Wars happened so long ago in Foundation that no human character can possibly remember it, so it has mostly been relegated to a footnote in the history books. However, Demerzel's artificial nature means she has survived the huge gulf in time that separates the two stories, and still has memories of the conflict. So, there's no reason to believe that the many stories from Asimov's Robot series aren't also part of Apple TV+'s Foundation universe, but happened so long ago that they have slipped into borderline irrelevance. There are some arguments that suggest Byrne's Demerzel does not come programmed with Asimov's 3 laws. For example, she kills Brother Dawn, Cassian Bilton, at the end of Foundation Season 1, which would seemingly contradict the first law of allowing a human to come to harm. Interestingly, many of the author's robot books explore the laws and how they interact with one another and can be interpreted in alternative ways, which could allow a robotic character like Demerzel to technically break a law without actually doing so. Plus, she has a 4th law, which makes her loyal to the Empire. There's another Apple TV+ project I'm convinced is part of Foundation's canon. Finch's directives sound very similar to Asimov's 3 laws. At present, Apple TV+ hasn't yet officially taken on an Isaac Asimov adaptation other than Foundation. That being said, the platform released a Tom Hanks movie named Finch in 2021, which I am almost certain is intended to be interpreted as part of the Foundation universe. Just as Demerzel comes equipped with Asimov's 3 laws, Finch's robotic character, Jeff, is also strongly suggested to boast the same restrictions. Hank's titular character openly states that Jeff's first directive is that a robot may not injure a human being or, through inaction, allow a human being to come to harm. Jeff's first directive is pretty much a word-for-word lift from Asimov's first law, which feels like too much of a coincidence to ignore. Of course, Finch is set a very long time before Foundation would be, but that actually makes canonical sense. Compared to Demerzel, Jeff is a pretty basic robot, so it would take centuries for her kind to reach the level of sophistication achieved by Byrne's character. By the time of Foundation, the story of Finch and Jeff would have been long forgotten, and it would only be a very soft prequel, if it's a prequel at all. After Foundation, I'd love to see Apple TV+ adapt more Isaac Asimov books. Foundation seemed impossible to adapt, but Apple TV+ has done an incredible job. Considering how many books Isaac Asimov wrote, I find it very surprising how few of his stories have been the live-action adaptation treatment. Furthermore, choosing Foundation to adapt was probably one of the most shocking decisions Apple TV+ could have made. The sprawling space opera is told over such a long period that I was unsure how an adaptation would look, but I've been very pleasantly surprised by how beautifully it has come out so far. So, now Apple TV+ has pulled off such a tricky task, I'd trust the platform with any Asimov project. What would be especially exciting about more Isaac Asimov adaptations from Apple TV+, especially ones taken from the author's Robot series, is that Laura Byrne could reprise her role as Lady Demerzel. The character is incredibly old, so even a show set hundreds of years before Foundation could bring Byrne back to play the part again. Plus, learning more about her past would add fascinating layers of depth to her story in Foundation.